One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. A metal mayhem that will never die. With vengeance roaring, he paves his way. A legend in the making, day by day.
Oh boy, do we have a lot to discuss this morning, don't we, ladies and gentlemen? Good morning to everybody. Hopefully everyone's enjoying their morning so far. I definitely know that we are. Listen, as you guys can see by the title, Iran strikes Hormuz, as well as SCOTUS rules, meaning the Supreme Court comes out with their rulings, as well as Trump speaks. Now, let me go ahead and give you guys the chronological timeline of what we're going to be discussing this morning. First, we're going to be discussing Iran attacks U.S.-bound cargo ship in Hormuz to teach Trump a lesson. Ladies and gentlemen, oh boy. And this was, I believe, a Singapore-flagged ship, so which is not actually surprising. A lot of ships are Singaporean because of their tax relief and all that shit that they got down there and stuff. But anyways, I digress off of that. Then we're going to be going into New York City Mayor Mamdani on Supreme Court TPS ruling. He's going to go out there and do a little bit of cope out there, I guess.
Emotional, damn it.
It's all right. We can listen to the left. And, well, actually, it's funny that it's like the left has become this socialist party, man. And what an embarrassment. Anyways, U.S. military supporting relief efforts in Venezuela after deadly earthquakes. And yes, I was telling you guys that we're going to be getting some sort of aid over there. They have a massive situation on their hands. And the number that I'm about to tell you of how many people are missing in that situation is outstanding. First, let's keep it on track, though. Let's keep on the chronological timeline. So first, we'll be discussing the U.S. military support relief, and then we'll be going into a little bit of SCOTUS regarding, and they actually didn't trim down a segment for us to go ahead and speak or show or present. So I actually broke it down, and I have the three Supreme Court rulings that are the ones that are really effective for the rest of the United States. There was a fourth one that happened yesterday, and that happened to be about a Roundup, the chemical Roundup that, the killer or whatever. It was something about a cancer warning or whatever the case is, a cancer warning to Roundup's federal approved lab or whatever. So that one's kind of irrelevant to all of us, but we do have the three that are most important. We'll be discussing those here very close here soon. Then we have developing Iran attacks cargo ship, testing fragile ceasefire. This happening only 3 hours ago when they were discussing it. But this strike actually happened yesterday, last evening. So it happened yesterday evening, and I was watching it happen actually kind of go down all at the about, I would assume, as it was breaking, to be honest. And then we have, I guess, a video of the reflecting pool vandals used box cutter to slash pool. Now, that's going to be interesting to see the video because they have been making claims as if they didn't do this. So I would like to see the video of it. And then we have Iran strikes vessel in Strait of Hormuz, challenging deal with Trump. So it says just 2 hours ago, two senior U.S. officials said Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, which is IRGC, attacked a Singapore-flagged cargo ship Thursday in the Strait of Hormuz, challenging the agreement the U.S. and Iran signed last week to halt hostilities and reopen the critical shipping route. Yeah, this is bad, dude. And speaking of bad, we were just talking about that Venezuela earthquake, the double earthquake that happened. It was like a 7.1 and a 7.5 back to back, boom, boom. So it says here 25,000 people are missing and 230 people plus are dead. And I guess the survivor is going to be speaking out for us. Oh, man, what a freaking story. And then we got just in evacuations suspended in Strait of Hormuz after Iran escalation 49 minutes ago. It says the UN has suspended vessel evacuations through the Strait of Hormuz after an Indian drone struck a Singapore-flagged cargo ship, raising new concerns over maritime security and regional stability. Now, what's going to be interesting about this whole thing about the cargo ship that was hit is where it was hit and what, on particularly what side. And I'm going to tell you guys why that's interesting here in a moment. But first, let's go ahead and do our call to actions, and then we'll hop in the madness, and then we'll break it all down. So quickly, make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. I very much appreciate you guys, and it's free to do so. You know what else is free is hitting that subscribe button. This is what we do Monday through Friday, and then of course we have members only on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Listen, that means it's tomorrow for members only, man. So if you guys sign up, get a gifted membership, any of those things, make sure you guys show up for the members only. We have a good time. Not, we don't deal with any of that crazy shit. We deal with good times over there. Speaking of members, please consider becoming a member, starting only at $2.99 a month, making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This allows us to be on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So thank you guys for becoming members and staying members, man. Absolutely. Listen, a little side note here. Make sure you guys follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, all that great shit, man. Listen, let me clear my throat real quick. Listen, make sure you guys go in the video description down below where we have the Discord invite link, by the way, as well. So listen, last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, we have these platforms that are scrolling around the screen. At any time, you can donate to those. And, of course, I get 100% of the proceeds. And, of course, we'll read out loud anything that comes our way, just like a normal super chat. So we've got our email up, and we're ready to rock and roll. All right, we'll always be scanning out here. All right, good morning to everybody, man. Thank you for all being here. We always appreciate you guys for showing so much love, support, all of that, man. We got Brother VC in the building. We got Easy Frank as well. Always appreciate you guys. Good morning, good morning. We got Rabbit of Chaos as well as PJ and KP. We got Brother Shadow in the building. Nice to see you, by the way. We got Pitbull over there from across the pond and the UK. We always appreciate you, brother. Good morning. Good morning. We got Brother Sick Bastard chilling with us. We got Carrie saying damn Friday already. Yes, sir. It's a felony Friday. Good morning to you. Let's see. Yeah, Sick Bastard's embracing. That's good. We got a Brother AU as well. Good morning to you, kind sir. Motobomb Virginia. Yes, sir. Good morning to you as well. Scrolling on down, we got 5150 as well. Always appreciate you. And Texas Gidget. Good morning. Good morning. Tommy, good morning as well. All right, let's get into the madness. First, we got to get into this whole thing. I've got some video footage here. It's narrated by AI, by the way, but this is an actual reputable channel, by the way. One Indian News. This came out about 20 hours ago. And it actually didn't get a lot of views because people aren't looking for the actual what actually happened. It's interesting. People will talk about the headlines all the time, but then when it's time to like show what happened, it's hard to get that footage sometimes. Well, usually because people aren't looking for it. Anyways, this is as much footage as I could find. Let's go ahead and go through it real quick.
Transiting in the Strait of Hormuz is only possible with SEPA Navy permission.
Okay, so this is, it says right here, this is current U.S. Air Force aerial picture over the Strait of Hormuz following the attack on a vessel in Omani waters earlier today, showing at least 5 KC-135 stratotankers active. Wow.
A cargo vessel traveling through the Strait of Hormuz has been struck by a projectile, according to the...
And it got struck on the starboard side. And you got to remember that they were actually headed outbound. So that means the starboard side is the right side of the ship, okay? As they're traveling outbound, as they're going through, it's odd that the face of the ship that got hit was actually facing Oman and not facing Iran. You know what I mean? And also they said this is an Indian drone that was sent. Now, that doesn't mean it was obviously used by the Indians. No, of course. You know, but what I do mean in the aspect of who could have shot those from that side.
British military. The attack took place on Thursday while a ship was sailing along a United Nations-approved maritime route through the strategically vital waterway. And the timing is raising serious concerns. Just hours before the incident, Iran had issued fresh warnings to commercial vessels using a newly announced shipping corridor backed by Oman in the Strait of Hormuz.
This is SEPA warning. Transiting in the Strait of Hormuz is only possible with SEPA permission and on designated routes. If any vessels attempt to transit in the strait without our permission or AIS off or outside of the designated route, it's responsible for any consequences of any danger. This is SEPA Navy out.
The United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operation.
So they basically said if you turn off your AIS system, which is their satellite tracking GPS, basically, and if they try to do anything out of order, they're going to be handled.
Center confirmed the attack and said there were no casualties and no environmental impact reported from the strike.
Well, that's good.
But the message from Tehran had already been clear. Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard had warned ships not to transit the area without Tehran's permission. In a newly released video, the Iranian armed forces delivered a direct warning to vessels operating near the Strait of Hormuz. The statement declared that transit through the strait is only possible with IRGC Navy permission and on designated routes.
Right.
It further warned that any vessel sailing without authorization, operating outside designated routes, or turning off its AIS tracking system would be responsible,
which is what we just broke down,
for any consequences. Now attention is also turning to the military response in the region. Current aerial tracking data reportedly shows significant U.S. Air Force activity over and around the Strait of Hormuz following the attack.
Of course.
At least 5 KC-135 stratotanker aerial refueling aircraft have been observed operating in the area, indicating heightened military readiness and surveillance. While Washington has not yet publicly linked the tanker activity to the attack, the increased presence comes as tensions remain elevated across the Gulf. The Strait of Hormuz remains one of the world's most important maritime choke points, handling a significant share of global energy shipments.
Brother Sterling Wheel coming in and gifting out a membership. First dono of the stream, by the way. We always appreciate you, kind sir. And listen, you're not only helping me, but you're helping someone else in the IWF. Listen, tomorrow morning, if you guys got that membership, by the way, we have members only tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. We always have a good time, man.
Every day.
Good morning, Sterling.
Any disruption to commercial traffic in these waters has the potential to impact international shipping, energy markets, and regional security. For now, there are no reports of injuries, and investigations into the projectile strike are continuing. But with Iran issuing direct warnings to ships, a commercial vessel now hit on a recognized international route, and increased U.S. military activity overhead, concerns are growing that the security situation in the Strait of Hormuz may be entering a far more dangerous phase. The key question now is whether this remains an isolated incident or marks the beginning of a broader confrontation in one of the world's most sensitive.
It's definitely not an isolated incident. It's basically the IRGC going, hey, we're going to make an example out of this ship. It's targeted in that specific fashion, but what it is to do is obviously to let the world know, hey, this is what can happen here.
Waterways.
United States makes examples out of things all the time as well. Well, that's totally interesting nonetheless. I'm glad that I actually found that footage for us to at least have a little bit of context. All right, so again, we're going to get into more about Iran, the Strait here very soon. I promise. We got a lot of shit to talk about the regards of the Strait, but we got to do these things in chronological order. So that happened about 20 hours ago, okay? Happened yesterday, and then I ended up finding that clip for basically our lead-in for the rest of the day. But first, we got to get over into a national, all right? We got to bring it back over here to the United States. I guess Mamdani has some emotional damage or something about that. It's about the Supreme Court ruling of TPS, temporary protective status. And that specifically goes for the 300,000 plus Haitian and Syrian refugees here in the United States. So, of course, you know, Mamdani being he's obviously a sanctuary city, you know what I mean? Like, he's going to play the part. So let's go ahead and bring this up. Let's go. Let's see here. 3, 2, 1.
And next, we're going to hear from New York City Mayor Mamdani, another fighter.
Another fighter. That shit is. And then no one claps.
Why are you gay?
Good afternoon, New York City. At a moment where the federal government is trying to drive us apart,
ENT, good morning.
I'm glad to be here together. I want to acknowledge.
And no, good morning.
Our 1199 SEIU President, Yvonne Armstrong. I want to acknowledge union leadership and members, acknowledge the community that is here with us. I know that we had Governor Hochul speak earlier, Attorney General James, our public advocate, Jumani Williams. We have council members, Rita Joseph, Mercedes Narcisse, Assembly members, Ferris Souffrant.
Wait. How did he say Letitia James? He didn't say Letitia.
I know that we had Governor Hochul speak earlier, Attorney General James, our public advocate.
What the fuck? What is he saying?
Jumani Williams. We have council members Rita Joseph, Mercedes Narcisse,
Latina.
Assembly members Ferris Souffrant Forrest, Mikhail Salages, Rodney Bashad Hermelin. We have members of 1199 who are not just here but also gathered across New York City. I think we have our district attorney from Brooklyn, Eric Gonzalez, who is here with us, the Haitian Bridge Alliance, as well as Murad, and our commissioner of immigrant affairs, Faiza Ali, who is joining us here. You know, for centuries, our city has stood as a beacon of opportunity.
Oh, shit. No, I didn't see that.
Bright enough to be seen the world over. People have immigrated here from thousands of miles away because they believe.
He must have just said it real quick like that. Attorney General. I get it.
In what this city represents, what this country represents. Freedom, prosperity, a place where anyone can live a life of dignity. I am one of those immigrants. More than 3 million people who call this city home are immigrants.
What's up, Jamie? Good morning.
And I know that so many others here today share that same story. Now, you may have come from IT. You may, like my wife's family, have come from Syria. For so many here, home was not something that was given, but something that you had to make for yourself. And I am so proud that each of you has chosen to make your home in New York City. No matter where you were born, no matter how far you had to travel to.
Now, this, like I said, this is going to affect about 300,000 plus Haitian and Syrian refugees, or not refugees. Well, I guess they are refugees, asylum seekers, right?
Get here. I want to be
protective
clear.
Status.
You are a New Yorker. Today, tomorrow, and every day, you are a New Yorker. As healthcare workers, as teachers, as organizers, you have not just made your home in New York City, you have dedicated your lives to New York City. You have bettered New York City. You have helped to build New York City. So hear me when I say this. The people of New York City are going to show up for you. As we face down a Supreme Court ruling that just opened the door to fear, instability, and the threat of deportation for so many, New York City will do everything in our power to fight back. This is a city where we look out for our neighbors, where we don't let those who are afraid of what makes the city great try to divide us, where we reject a politics of fear. Now, they may traffic in cruelty, yet we will lead with something even more powerful than that: solidarity. City Hall will stand with you and stand up for you. Now, our Moya Legal Hotline is ready to receive calls from New Yorkers with legal questions and to provide referrals for legal help. You can call the hotline at 800-354-0365, or if you see our Commissioner Faiza Ali, you can ask her in person. The mayor.
That is Mayor Mamdani making those remarks in New York, as we have been hearing a lot of lawmakers continuing to speak out. We just heard from...
Yeah, you just get to hear a lot of cope from the left. That's what we get to see.
Emotional, damn it.
All right, quickly before we get into SCOTUS ruling, the Supreme Court rulings, first let's go ahead and see regards to Venezuela, with the whole earthquake thing, the double earthquake that they just had. They had a 7.1 or 7.2 and then a 7.5 back to back. And I mean, super devastating. So we've been following this. And yesterday, the numbers were humongous. And now they're saying, as of this morning, 25,000 missing and 230 plus dead. I guess the survivor does speak out during one of the upcoming clips I've got for you guys on that. But what I was talking about yesterday was how the U.S., basically Marco Rubio alluded to that we're going to be giving them, aid of some sort. And it looks like it's saying U.S. military supporting relief efforts in Venezuela after deadly earthquakes. So let's go ahead and bring this up. And first, actually, you know what we got to do? We got to get the money part over with. Let's just go ahead and do that real quick. Let me find it here.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
All right. That's the best propaganda you're going to get all day. But listen.
Denied.
I still love you guys. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and bring this up, and we'll quickly get into figuring out what's happening here.
Okay. You're watching live now. I'm Austin Westfall. We've continued to track the recovery efforts. There is a lot of work to do in Venezuela, as Venezuelans are still searching beneath collapsed buildings after northern areas of the country were rocked by a pair of powerful earthquakes. The U.S. military is saying it's helping with efforts. It's saying that joint forces...
Oh, you know what, VC? Just for you, because it's you, I'll give it to you. Let's go and snack on that big-ass sandwich.
Man, motherfuckers talk all the shit they want. But you see me, I'm sitting up here snacking on this big-ass sandwich, not getting a fuck. Kiss my dick, motherfucker.
Shit. All right, back to this.
They're bringing airlift, logistics, and life-saving capabilities to support the government of Venezuela during the crisis. U.S. Southcom has been working on this. Of course, Venezuela falls under the jurisdiction of U.S. Southern Command. They just sent this out within the past hour or so. I want to read this out. Southcom says surging forces are supporting Venezuelan earthquake relief efforts. Southcom is surging available assigned U.S. military forces in our region to support Department of State-led U.S. government relief operations in Venezuela following the devastating earthquakes that struck the nation on the 24th. The interim Venezuelan authorities formally requested U.S. assistance in the aftermath. Commander General Francis L. Donovan has directed significant forces to the effort, including the amphibious transport ship USS Fort Lauderdale and the littoral combat ship USS Billings. C-17 Globemaster and C-130 Hercules transport aircraft will also support, along with reconnaissance platforms. And
well, what are they going to do in the support of, like, with all that equipment? What are they going to do? I mean, I'm trying to figure out, like, what is all of that equipment going to necessarily do?
Rotary wing air.
They're not fighting a war, you know what I mean?
Of course, we've been tracking this Venezuela situation over the past 24 hours or so, but the U.S. getting involved in this capacity is certainly something that we're going to keep an eye on. Hal Kemper is here. He's a former, and he has a lot of hats. We bring
Hell yeah, we can actually get through the bullshit with him.
Hal on a lot of times doing military analysis, but Hal also does he formerly did military emergency preparedness liaison work. He was a liaison officer for emergency preparedness. He also trains foreign countries on.
What's up, brother Dean, over there on the West Coast? We always appreciate you, my man. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning as well.
How to respond to these types of disasters. In general, Hal, and I know you've worked closely with a lot of these types of efforts.
Let's get the
how
likes
does the
up.
U.S. fit into the picture when we're talking about efforts in another country?
Well, we're going to be surging a lot of aid in across the board. There'll be military stuff, and you saw that from U.S. Southern Command. U.S. Southern Command under General Donovan is going to be the lead for coordinating all the military support going down there. I'm seeing what I expected to see, which is heavy lift aircraft, because we got a lot of stuff we have to get in there. We have to get it in fast, particularly flying in things like what we call USAR teams. These are the urban search and rescue teams. These are not.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I'm glad that he really does have the knowledge of what this equipment is actually going to be used for. I like that.
Not military, but it's a program that's been led by FEMA. They're funded under FEMA money through the Department of Homeland Security. These are
what's up, brother, Mr. as well. Good morning to you as well.
Highly trained, well-equipped teams that are very quickly deployable worldwide. we use them in a variety of things. The earthquakes over in Turkey, we used them in, if you remember the tsunami and earthquake when Fukushima meltdown over in Japan. Anytime you have stuff with a lot of urban destruction, they fly them out. One's in Los Angeles County. I've worked very closely with a number of the folks with that USAR team. And then, of course, the other one is Fairfax. It's called USA 1, USA 2. They've got to get down there with a ton of equipment, a lot of other things. So military airlift is one of the ways that they will be moving a lot of this equipment down there to do that. These are pretty capable teams, but we want to get those down fast because the first thing you want to do is you want to rescue people who are trapped under the rebels. So they bring rubble. So they bring a lot of capabilities with them, to include the dogs that can smell people and lead rescuers to where they are. And it's very difficult.
I mean, listen, man. I mean, like I told you guys a little bit earlier, 25,000 people missing right now. That's not good. I mean, that's so many people.
When you look at the destruction going on, to find victims under all that, brick and everything else.
Terrible.
So they want to get them down there fast. And then the next thing you're going to find is more support stuff, medical support, logistics support. They'll need things like fresh water. So we may be bringing in some purification units for that.
I'm sure there's going to be, food stores, as we call it, whether that be water, food, whatever.
Food. There are no shortage of items that Venezuelans and Venezuela needs at this point to deal with this crisis.
So, we were watching, anybody that happened to be watching us.
Yeah, it's totally miserable. This is massive.
This time last night knows that we were showing some of the live images as these groups of people. It was really like a human chain. We just saw some of it. But as you were mentioning, I mean, they're lifting these huge pieces of debris and they're kind of using this human chain formation to. And
it's everywhere. It's not like one building that went down. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking insane amount of shit. It's just destruction all the way around.
Bring these huge pieces of concrete out of these piles of rubble. You mentioned some of the past disasters that we've tracked in recent decades. The 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake comes to mind. The 2010 Haiti quake. More recently, the 2023 Turkey and Syria quakes. Those are among the deadliest this century.
Wow.
Aside from the size of an earthquake, Hal, what are the main factors that determine how many casualties are caused in these situations?
And also, them having a back-to-back, having a 7.2 and then having a 7.5 right afterwards. I mean, just insane. Just having one, having a 7.0 plus by itself, let alone having two of them.
Well, there's a lot of different factors. A lot of it has to do with, particularly this type of thing with the earthquake, we look at the construction of the buildings. And that's one of the problems of Venezuela. It's interesting. They got hit with a 7.1.
Yeah, aren't they like allergic to like rebar and shit?
And a 7.5. Now, a lot of variations on that depth of the quake, where the epicenter was. But it was interesting to see the devastation from this at almost the same time in Japan. They got hit with a 7.2. Not a lot of damage. I don't know if there are any serious casualties over in Japan. That has to do with the structural integrity of the buildings. A lot of the buildings down there are not built to earthquake code, shall we say. A lot of unreinforced masonry. A lot of stuff that just isn't very stable when you have an earthquake.
A lot of it there's no code at all. It just is built if you have the money kind of thing. No one's like sitting there doing like inspections of your shit.
And you're seeing it. You're seeing multi-stories. I think in one case they talked about a 10-story building. I believe it was a resort building that just came collapsing down. You can imagine what happened to everybody in there. Also, all these other.
What's up, Charlie Rose, by the way? Good morning
buildings
to you.
They're smaller. You saw the airport, which is usually some of the better construction, and you saw a lot of damage, walls falling, all those things. Then the other issue that comes out of that is you'll have, and this is something you're going to see a lot of, and you are seeing a lot of, when you talk about these human chains, you're seeing a lot of neighbors helping neighbors, everybody going in there and pitching in to help. But the danger is they can go in there with all the best of intentions to go in and help someone, pulling stuff out, but you're dealing with a lot of walls and, concrete things, very heavy, that are kind of
Brother So Loud as well. Good morning, and shout out to North Carolina.
Precariously, they're collapsed and sitting there.
Brother Strait,
so people
good morning.
start digging out, trying to help victims, and they'll get in there and they don't put up a lot of the support. They don't reinforce, they don't shore up a lot of these walls and these other things, ceilings and stuff that have collapsed. And literally the rescuers will become the victims. And one of the things the USAR teams are dealing with, have traditionally dealt with, is they spend a lot of time rescuing rescuers, which are well-made.
Oh man, that's terrible. I mean, when you're moving that big of amount of debris, heavy shit like that, it's bound to collapse, shit fall on top of you. And so he's saying that for these rescue teams, a lot of the times it's them rescuing the rescuers. damn it, bro.
Individuals without proper equipment or proper training who are trying to do something, and they go in to rescue somebody and they get themselves trapped. That's a big challenge. I think we're going to see a lot of it in this case, just because culturally Venezuelans, the culture is one where Venezuelans help Venezuelans. I would be remiss if I didn't point out something. We've just had this huge political shift. Maduro was taken to the United States.
Right.
We're working with the current government there. But in these disasters, you can see follow-on implications. One of the things being discussed is the lack of government, first responders and government forces, government personnel that are coming into the different neighborhoods. I know you see some of it on the video where you'll see, okay, there's the military, there's police forces, but there's been a lack of dedicated emergency response or a sufficient emergency response. The perception that the government is unable to help the people will be something that the government is going to have to deal with. And the consequences of that won't happen right away, but traditionally they can have some enormous impact. I would point to the Soviet Union, Chernobyl in 87, the Armenian earthquake in 88. In both cases, it felt the government was covering it up, that the government was not providing sufficient support.
And that's their side, by the way, not ours. And I'm not going to listen to fucked up audio. Let's see here. It says, we thank the U.S. President Donald Trump and his administration who have been in constant contact with Venezuelan authorities, offering support and solidarity to the people of Venezuela in the face of this tragedy that has plunged us into mourning. Wow. Fucking terrible, man. All right. So quickly, let me go ahead and just tell you guys about the SCOTUS rulings that happened yesterday. There was 4 of them, but there's only 3 of them that were the ones that are going to basically decide how things move forward in the United States, basically, right? So the first one is immigration. Trump administration scores 2 major victories on this aspect. This was arguably the biggest story as well. Temporary protective status, TPS. The court allowed the Trump administration to end TPS protections for many Haitian and Syrians, clearing the way for those protections to be terminated while litigation continues. Asylum, which is metering policy, in a 6-3 decision, the court upheld the administration's ability to reinstate the border metering policy, meaning migrants waiting in Mexico generally cannot force their way into the U.S. simply to make an asylum claim. And then there was a gun rights ruling as well, another major conservative victory. The court continued expanding protections under the Second Amendment. It struck down Hawaii's law that required gun owners to obtain permission before carrying firearms onto most private property open to the public, such as like your Walmarts, gas stations, whatever. In a separate unanimous ruling, it narrowed the federal prohibition on firearm possession by unlawful drug users, a decision that could affect many marijuana users. So exactly. So that was separate. That ruling came out like last week or something like that. So that's just adding to the gun rights. Basically, another victory for gun rights. And then let's see, a third is going to be birthright citizenship. This one's still pending. This is the one that we're waiting on that was supposed to be ruled on Tuesday. Then they moved it to Wednesday. Then they moved it to Thursday. Then they said it's going to happen yesterday. So hopefully we will get this, but this is the one that everyone's waiting on, and it is still pending. The decision many people, including you, have been waiting for did not come yesterday. The court has not yet ruled on the case involving President Trump's executive order on birthright citizenship. That remains one of the biggest unsolved cases of the term, and it's still expected very soon. All right, so that is what we were looking at for in the regards of SCOTUS. So at least you guys could hear it from me. And now we're going to move on into this whole aspect of that ship that got struck yesterday. I saw it happening and breaking yesterday, and now they're talking about it this morning, obviously. I want to see if they have any other facts on the ground on this. This coming out about 3 hours ago. So let's go and see what this report is showing here.
Iran attacking a Singapore flag cargo ship in the Strait of Hormuz. This was predictable. This happened yesterday, testing the recent memorandum of understanding between the U.S. and Tehran.
Meanwhile, the commander-in-chief says that the administration is negotiating with Iran from a position of...
What's up, brother Hardwire? Good morning to you. Happy Felony Friday. Great to see you.
Strength.
Madeline Rivera is live in Washington with the details for us. Hey, Maddie. Hi, good morning. A UN agency says it temporarily paused evacuations until the safety of ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz can be guaranteed.
Now this did happen, but just about an hour ago, evacuation suspended in Strait of Hormuz after Iran escalation. So kind of void that. They just did that to figure out what the fuck is going on down there before they can continue moving. And they figured it out fairly quickly, I would say, obviously within 10, 12 hours.
U.S. officials say one IRGC drone hit a Singapore-flagged cargo ship called Ever Lovely as it was exiting the Strait of Hormuz off the Omani coast on Thursday. The strike did damage the ship's bridge, but thankfully there were no casualties. The UN's International Maritime Organization says the ship did not travel under the evacuation framework it established, and the IRGC Navy has warned any ship passing through a new shipping route without Iran's coordination is unacceptable and dangerous. The Persian Gulf Strait Authority says any passage through routes outside the framework designated by PGSA will not be covered by safe passage guarantees and will not be entitled to insurance coverage or related liabilities. The consequences arising from passage through unauthorized routes shall be the responsibility of the owner, operator, and vessel commander. Secretary of
What's up, Chad with Stacks? Good morning to you, kind
State
sir.
Marco Rubio says Iran will be judged not by its rhetoric, but by whether ships are actually moving through the strait. He says if they're not transiting, that would be a violation of its agreement with the U.S. Still, the president remains confident in the deal.
We're negotiating from a position of pure strength, pure strength. They know that. And the strait's already open, and we're setting records of the strait. But we had to do...
Hey, Jerry, by the way, I'm doing just fine without you. Never needed you. And you're on that side of the screen. Fucktard. We'll see you out of here, bitch.
That we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon.
The president also says unfrozen Iranian funds will soon be used to buy American agricultural goods like wheat, soybeans, and corn. Iran says that claim is false, but the U.S. has maintained what Iran is signaling publicly is different from what it's doing behind closed doors.
What's up, brother? Extra surprise. Good morning to you. Happy Felony Friday to you.
Thanks, Manny.
All right, thanks, man.
First off, you can't say it's the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal's fault. They are setting up a toll system. They are beginning to make ships buy Iranian insurance. They're setting up fees. And Oman, who was allegedly an ally, is part of this with Iran. So I'm not sure is the vice president and Whitcomb.
And that's the one thing that I was worried about because as I was telling you guys, the ship was headed outbound. Okay. So when they were headed outbound, that means the starboard side, which is the right side of the ship, is facing Oman. It's not facing Iran. So it's interesting that they got their strike from the Oman side. Now, of course, now we're figuring out what's happening in the regards of that. But nonetheless, we don't need much more of this guy's cope. I don't need to hear that, but I do want to see these strikes right here because I haven't seen these particular strikes. This is in southern Lebanon. This is Israeli Defense Forces Thursday. This is yesterday. Yes, as simultaneously that the ship was struck, also the IDF started attacking Hezbollah up there in southern Lebanon.
A agreement that we have with Iran. It was designed to pause hostility, which clearly hasn't happened, and it was designed to reopen the strait. And now you have the Persian Gulf Strait Authority stating on social media that ships traveling on unauthorized routes carry their own consequences and will not be guaranteed.
What's up, brother Jack Talcott, as well as brother Abe Dinkus? Good morning to you guys. Good morning. Good morning.
Safe passage. Why are they determining what route is authorized? These are international waters.
Great question.
I just think that, and we said this from the very beginning, it's no secret. The Iranians don't have a military like we did. We destroyed that aspect of it. So everything that they're going to do is going to be involving the strait. When we made it very clear to them that the gas prices...
We already know that. All right, let's go ahead and move on into this next thing. Before we get back into Iran, because we're doing this chronologically, getting us into current time right now. There is some video coming out regarding this reflecting pool, and the vandals used a box cutter to slash the pool. So that's one thing that was interesting because they were declining that was, someone had actually gone in there and destroyed it like that. But it's, here comes, I guess, a video.
As I want to bring you some of the latest on a story that we have been following very closely here. The alleged vandalism of the reflecting pool after President Trump's big renovation project. The National Park Service says a liner along the bottom of the pool was cut with a sharp knife or razor, causing damage to the foam sealant installed as part of that $16 million project. A court document filed this week states the U.S. Park Police were called on the 9th to a complaint by the Park Service. The Associated Press saying the police report indicates damage to the pool, quote, including a caulk over the foam sealant that was cut with a sharp knife or razor and destruction of delaminating surface material. Officials also saying that about 70 fence post tops were thrown into the pool as well. Right here, you are looking at a post, or you were, from President Trump. That was via Fox News as he spoke last night to folks in the...
So it shows here USPP News posted this.
Rose Garden.
I guess it's the actual video of the people doing it, but I want to see that video.
Comments confirming the
oh, we're going to see
situation
it. We are going
happened
to see it.
And that it had been looked at. Now, that filing comes as the National Park Service released video of a person they want to identify in connection with an investigation into vandalism of the pool. Take a look right here. This is that video up close because you can see a still image on the left-hand side, but they
There it goes.
provide a wide view and then they zoom in and actually circle the person that they say they are trying to identify. U.S. Park Police asking for help to identify the person in the video in connection with what they call a destruction of government property investigation, adding the
Oh, she's
incident
doubling down.
happened June 19th,
Oh,
but
she is
providing
doing
no
something.
other details about that alleged crime.
Oh, shit.
The Interior Department says as of yesterday, 7 people have been arrested for different incidents involving the pool and vandalism. 7 federal citations also issued.
It's crazy they can get a random video of somebody like this and then actually track them down and arrest them. That shit to me is crazy because these are just, I mean, just whatever random people.
With 18 police reports being...
You ain't got their names. You ain't got the, you know, for the FBI to be able to figure that out, or whoever figured it out.
Filed. Now, I told you about this just yesterday, but let's pop this up on your screen here because one of the arrests was former Olympian Davey Hearn. His attorney releasing a statement to Live Now from Fox saying, quote, treating ordinary conduct as criminal diverts attention from the real questions of how this project was managed, including its corrupt, no-bid contracting process, using the criminal justice system to target innocent people as a form distraction is textbook authoritarian behavior, end quote. Again, that is a remark coming in from the attorney for Davey Hearn. We were told by that attorney that he would not be speaking with us on camera, but they did provide.
Former Olympian arrested in reflecting pool case. Wow. So the defense for a former Olympian. Wow.
That report there. Now, a spokesperson for the Interior Department says public notification about the damage on July 9th was delayed because, quote, the vandalism was under investigation and believed to be isolated. So as to not encourage deranged individuals.
Yeah, but that was a potato image. I mean, you guys saw, I mean, it's not like you were able to zoom in and see their face like how you can like zoom in and see my face. I mean, it's just a blur, you know what I mean? And you can only refine a picture so much, you know?
Individuals. We did not announce what we hope to be an isolated incident, end quote. Around the same time, Park Service staff, quote,
What's up, brother Wildcard? Good morning.
Another incident where fencing around the pool had been forcibly removed and thrown into the pool. That is, again, to the Associated Press, a spokesperson for the Park Service providing that information. The department soon noticed, they say, that, quote, recurring cases and videos of people ripping at the coating began to circulate. We then knew this was not an isolated incident, but a new trend to attempt to damage the reflecting pool. Now, again, all of this happening as we are just days away from July 4th and, of course, the America 2.
We already know that. Let's go ahead and move on into Iran strikes vessel in Strait of Hormuz challenging deal with Trump. Now, this is the latest that we've got on this, and then we have the evacuation suspended in the Strait of Hormuz after the Iran escalation. It was shut down for about, you know, the evacuations, quote unquote, they were held for about 10, 12 hours. So one of the reports that we just showed said, you know, they were in the middle of their shutdown evacuation, but now they just suspended that evacuation. But first, I do want to see if they do have any updates on this whole vessel thing, because obviously we've been tracking this heavily here.
Screen, and if you
it's a very, very quick update too.
Just joining us, we want to go over some of those to let you know kind of where things stand at this point on those big stories. And what you're looking at here on your screen is a look over the Strait of Hormuz. It's a live look that we show you via marine traffic all throughout the day, where you can see quite a bit of activity taking place in that area. Now, as far as the latest information that's coming in, we have learned that the U.S. is accusing Iran of conducting a drone strike on a vessel, a ship there over in the Strait of Hormuz that was apparently leaving at the time. Now, there's concerns, of course, about the progress being lost between the U.S. and Iran on a peace deal as of this latest information here. Taiwan's Evergreen Marine also saying that its Singapore-flagged vessel, which is known as Ever Lovely, was hit on the starboard side, causing damage to the bridge windows. Now, at this point, we have not received any of those.
Now, that would mean the starboard side is the right side of the vessel, and they were on their way out. So they're headed out of the strait, going to the right side of the screen over here. As they were making this turn around the bend here, that means their starboard side would be the side that's pointed towards Oman. And that was the side that was struck.
Images showing the damage, but it's likely that we will get those later on today. And if we do, we're going to make sure to bring them to you to show you some of the damage left behind. Now, we also know that the ship was hit close to Oman while reportedly using a route that had been recommended by the British Navy. Several U.S. officials telling Reuters that Iran had fired on the ship after Iran threatened to take action against any ship traveling a route that it had not approved. This all led the United Nations International Maritime Organization to pause operations aimed at escorting those ships safely through the strait. President Trump has warned that if Iran does not honor the Memorandum of Understanding and reopen the strait, that the U.S. could go back to bombing the country. There's a lot to this, so that's why we always bring on those experts to help break down the latest developments. As of right now, it technically remains unclear whether or not the Strait of Hormuz is open or closed. We also know from President Trump that he has said that no tolls will be charged for ships to pass through here, and if that does happen, that is another violation of the Memorandum of Understanding. Again,
and it would be because the MOU does state that they wouldn't do that for at least the 60 days. That's what it states. But nonetheless, I digress from that. Real quick, let's go ahead and get into this whole thing with Venezuela and the updated numbers regarding the missing people. Them having a 7.2 and then a 7.5 earthquake back to back led humongous. I mean, we're talking a huge amount of destruction, and also not on a destruction just on infrastructure, but also a people level. 25,000 are missing right now, and 230 plus are dead. So let's go ahead and bring this up, and we'll go ahead and figure out what's happening here. And that's not even including the number of people that have been injured. Because it's thousands that have been injured. But all right, here we go. This is the latest on this whole thing.
Look as we follow everything related to those powerful back-to-back earthquakes that happened in Venezuela. Now, sadly, we have learned that the death toll did rise once again after those earthquakes. The country's health minister saying today that 235 people are confirmed dead, with at least 4,300 injured. However, leaders within the country, unfortunately, have said the number of dead is likely to rise as thousands upon thousands are still believed to be missing. I do want to bring in Tony Frangia-Mawad, an experienced Caracas-based journalist and someone who actually was there as all of this unfolded, to help kind of break it down for us. Tony, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us and to share your experience.
Hi, Chris. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Hi, Jeff. Sorry.
Oh, and I was going to say, can you start by kind of bringing me back to...
I got a question for Tony, though.
Why are you gay? You are gay.
Just saying. You know what I mean?
The day, as all of this is unfolding, the minute here, walk me through all of that.
Well, it happened on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Around 6 p.m. It was a holiday in Caracas, so many people were home or were in the streets during the day.
Oh, that explains it. He's actually in Caracas. He's in Venezuela.
Because there were most offices were closed and there was no school. So I was actually going out at the moment to watch a World Cup match with my friends at a bar in actually one of the parts of the city that got hit the hardest.
What kind of bar?
So I left home and got into the elevator, and that's when the earthquake hit, when I was inside the elevator. So the elevator started to move really violently from side to side and went all the way down on a really rapid pace. At first I thought it was malfunctioning. My friend was like the one who realized that it was actually a quake. And it was terrifying, to be honest. So we went all the way down to the second basement, and that's when it opened and we went out. And I saw that certain...
Oh shit, fuck, man. I suck at this sometimes. But man, my brother Mr. sent in a $50 cash app and saying, from Mr. Happy Friday, bro. Well, thank you very much. Happy Friday to you as well. Making rain up in the building. We always appreciate you, man. And for everybody else, you guys need to embrace your fuck ups.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck ups when you have tomorrow's fuck ups to look forward to? You are a fuck up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
You shall always embrace thy process. Absolutely. Happy Friday. Let's get back right into this.
Small things in
sad
the building,
story.
for example,
Damn
like
it.
some plastic leads that cover the light bulbs in the parking lot had fallen to the ground. But I thought it was just one of the typical small little quakes that tend to hit Caracas sometimes and don't do damages at all. But when I got some signal, because the signal collapsed during the quake, I got messages saying that buildings had fallen in Caracas. And that's when I realized it was something stronger, because this hadn't happened in the city since 1967, an earthquake of this
What's up, Sage? Good morning.
magnitude that actually kills people and destroys buildings. So through the day, we spent the next few hours in the gardens of the buildings. We didn't want to go up to our apartment with my family. And that's where we got more access to social media and to pictures on WhatsApp and Instagram, etc., showing that, in fact, what would be hundreds of buildings had actually collapsed in Caracas and other cities.
What has the last, I would say, 36 hours or so been like, as you've seen all of the activity that's taking place? We do have that live image right there. You could see the damage was just about everywhere. As we heard from officials that sadly the death toll did rise again and could rise even further. What have the last 36 hours or so been like for you?
Well, we already kind of know that the devastation here. I wanted to see if they had any other new updated numbers here. Oh, it does show the numbers here down. I didn't even see it. I wasn't paying attention to it. But there's the injured numbers. So 4,300 people injured so far. I knew it. The last time I saw the amount of injured, it had just crossed 1,000 people yesterday. Now it's already at 4,300 injured. The death toll went up as well. And I mean, we're talking 25,000 people missing. I mean, it's just unreal numbers, man. I just feel so terrible. These kind of things are just, man, it's just totally sucks. All right, let's go ahead and get into our next story here. Quickly, let's also, snack on that big ass
Man,
sandwich.
motherfuckers talk all the shit they want. But you see me, I'm sitting up here snacking on this big ass sandwich, not getting a fuck. Kiss my dick, motherfucker.
Boom. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into this. Just coming in right before the live stream actually started. It was like 15 minutes before we started. The evacuations suspended in the Strait of Hormuz after Iran escalation. So it shows that they've kind of figured out what's happening, at least. So let's go ahead and bring this up. This is a very, very quick update.
So
here.
turning now to more tension in the Middle East, an Iranian drone striking a Singapore-flagged cargo ship in the Strait of Hormuz, putting some pressure on the ceasefire reached with the U.S. A UN agency now suspending its evacuations until the safety of ships passing through that waterway can be guaranteed. Jeff Paul is joining us live this morning from Tel Aviv with the latest. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Bill. Yeah, and that attack on that Singapore flag ship at the Strait of Hormuz, obviously a major test of this 60-day deal between the U.S. and Iran. Talks are said to still be progressing, but this certainly derails those efforts to restore ship traffic to what we saw before this war even started. Now, some vessels had recently been evacuated through the United Nations International Maritime Organization's alternative route, but shortly after that ship was attacked by an Iranian drone, the group just announced it is now pausing evacuation of vessels. Iran's Navy released a statement saying this route is unacceptable and extremely dangerous. We warn all vessels to strictly refrain from any movement outside the designated routes. General Jack Keane today on Fox News responding to the situation this way.
We're going to have to arm wrestle this out, make certain that they step back. This is going to get resolved. Either it'll get resolved and the Iranians will stand down and stop what they're doing, or we will force them to stand down.
What's up, brother Bill Castle? Good morning to you over there in Washington. Great to see you.
President Trump seemingly addressing the growing tensions last night while speaking to some farmers at the White House. He says the strait remains open and emphasized Iran could become a new market for American farmers, saying they'll use unfrozen Iranian assets to buy U.S. crops. Trump insists Tehran wants to make a long-term deal with the U.S. badly.
Now, meanwhile, also the Iran side is saying, no, we're not going to be buying any of your GMO fucking soybeans and shit like that. Their response was actually pretty comical. Now, the one thing I do got to admit is with Trump doing the rhetoric that he does, like when he posts on like True Social or the tweets and all that shit, believe it or not, it does do a lot of damage on the Iranian side, because their side, they really think everyone's out to get each other, in the whole thing. So it really does cause a huge amount of chaos. Like they're going, well, Trump's saying that you're saying that we're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, no, we're not going to do that. We're not, and it just causes fucking chaos. It really actually does on a psychological level. But yeah.
We're negotiating from a position of pure strength. They know that. And the strait's already open, and we're setting records.
It's not open. It's like a partial open and selected vessels going through. It's not open.
Of the strait, but we had to do that. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon.
Now, he said that just yesterday, by the way.
Now, during his latest stop in the Persian Gulf, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that they're not interested in Iranian press conferences or rhetoric. They are interested in seeing ships move through the Strait of Hormuz. He says if that is happening, that is a good thing. If it is not, it is a violation of the agreement and of the ceasefire.
That's true, too.
And he says they're going to have a problem if that happens. Bill?
All right, Jeff Paul live in Tel Aviv this morning. Jeff, thank you.
All right, so we're going to be obviously following all this. This is what we do Monday through Friday. And then, of course, we have Saturday morning, which is tomorrow morning for members only, man. We don't discuss any of this craziness. We actually have a fucking good time. And listen, I hope that you guys enjoyed this morning, as well as double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side. Hit that like button if you're on the horizontal. We always appreciate you guys. Listen, stick around. You guys are going to be sent off to our buddy Black Dragon. He's live right now. I think he's, somewhat towards the end of his show, but he's still, live anyway. So show him a little bit of love. Anyways, we'll be back for more of the world's madness, though, on Monday morning at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, as always. Until then, God bless you guys. Much love, honor, respect, and have an enjoyable, safe weekend. Much love.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges.